Okay, this is how you make the modified glue board trap. First we'll start with all the materials that you're going to need. You're going to need a block of wood. I use 3/4 inch plywood. You can buy it at Rona or Home Depot or Lowe's. You're going to cut it to a very specific dimension. It's going to be 4 1/4 inches long by 3 inches wide. You're also going to need some Scotch tape. I bought this at Staples. Make sure you buy the transparent kind. Not the translucent one, but the transparent one. You're also going to need a piece of paper. It looks very similar to this paper you have on the glue board. On the very edge of the glue board, this paper right here, this is exactly the same paper. And the dimension of this piece of paper is 6 inches by 4 3/4. You're also going to need Trapper Max glue books. So, I buy these by the case. They're made by Bell Labs. Now there may be other glue boards that will work. It could be, but I'm reluctant to change a formula that works. I know that there are other glue boards that are much poorer quality, so I say just stick with what works, stick with the Bell Labs Trapper Max, and you'll be fine. To start off with, we're going to put some tape on the edge of this plywood. What you'll do, you take a board like this, and you'll notice I made a mark right there. So that's how long your tape should be. So I take okay, so now we have a block of wood that the bugs cannot climb. They cannot climb this plastic tape. Next thing you're going to do, get yourself a glue board. Make sure that you bend it so it always faces a little bit pregnant up, so that when you put your weight on it, it's completely flat. If you start like this, that's no good. It has to be pregnant that way. Remove the protective cover and put your plywood right in the middle. Then you'll take your knife and cut about 1/8 of an inch of glue off that side right there. And about the same distance all the way around, so that this distance and this distance are about equal. So now we have the basic part of the modified glue board trap. Let's just explain why that's important. If you take this edge right here, the part that I cut off, this part isn't very sticky. And that is because it's spent several months on a boat or in storage or in a warehouse. And by the time you get it, the air has made this edge much less stickier than it could be. But when you cut it, you'll find that it's extraordinarily sticky. Therefore, the cut edges. This is the base. If you put the glue board straight onto a piece of plywood like this or onto a floor, the bugs will approach it, put one leg into the glue, and they'll take the other 5 legs and pull themselves off. You'll catch exactly 0 bugs with a trap like that. You have to have a slippery substrate underneath, like so. And this is fine. One thing we found though, is that if you make the edge too big like that, it does increase the repellency somewhat. You can still get all of them, but it takes longer. If you do it this way, then the bugs are going to be able to grab onto the glue and use the edge of the paper to pull themselves off. So, both this is bad and that is bad. Don't do that. You need about 5 millimeters or 1/4 inch, and that seems to be about ideal. You'll flip it upside down, and you can use an ordinary construction stapler I use air because I make so many of them. And what you're going to do is put a little piece of tape right over top of there. And that is because when your bed leg goes on top of here, it's going to squish the glue right through these little holes. You'll end up with glue all over your floor. So I found if you put a little bit of tape over that, you prevented that glue from transferring through. That's a very useful thing. I find at least 3 staples are important. 2, I find it tends to fall off. I used to use 4, and that worked well, but lately I've been going to 3, and 3 seems to be okay.